You know, one of my first memories of watching a movie with my parents was watching The Sound of Music together. You know, this great story about a man who's being pressed back into military service, who decides that because he cannot serve the Nazis, I mean, this is his new country. Austria has now been taken over by Nazi Germany. He can't serve them as a matter of principle. And so he flees the country with his family of 7 children and, of course, the new bride that he had. The point of the story, I think, was maybe lost on me a little bit when I was a kid because I was caught up in the music. I was caught up in the fun, whatever. But as I've gone back and thought about that movie and the message behind it of saying, look, at some point in your life, you may have to decide whether you're going to have to leave the country that you love so much. There's this one scene in which, you know, the family's getting ready to flee. They're performing at that auditorium, and they start singing Edelweiss. You remember that? That's the old Austrian national whatever. I don't know if it was the anthem. It was just like a national song like God Bless America is to us. But in singing that, the entire crowd stood up and sang along with them. And it was so moving because it hit that heartstring, that idea of there's something greater than the individual. There's something even bigger than the family. We're all part of a national family here. And even though their country had been taken over by the Nazis, they were still part of this greater family. And in the confusion that followed with the awards and the whatnot, they were able to slip away and go over the hills, and you know, the hills are alive with, you know. What I want to bring up is this. Right now, and I have felt this way for at least 20 years, from the time that I was serving in the military myself in Bosnia. That was the first election, 1996, in which I looked at both parties, both of the major candidates, and saying, what is this? And I held my nose, and I picked one. And I held my nose for every single election after that until the last one, 2012. Actually, 2008 was the last one I voted. In 2012, I was just like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I feel like our country has gotten to a point now of where Captain von Trapp felt that Austria had gotten to. And it has nothing to do with Republicans. It has nothing to do with Democrats. It has to do with the fact that those who are behind the scenes, and people from both parties, and it's not about the politics. It's about the actions of the government on my behalf and on your behalf. These people who claim to be our rightful rulers making decisions to send bombs to Syria, to Iraq, to Afghanistan. The list just keeps growing and growing. North Korea. At some point, we may have to decide, this is not my country anymore. And I'm just going to throw that out there to you because I don't know what it would take financially to just pick up and leave. I don't know where I would go. But I can tell you this. People that say, if you don't like it, just leave. Well, you know what? How about I don't like it, why don't you leave? That's what I'd like to say. But, again, I'm not sure what that would take either. I'm just throwing this out here that the time is coming and may have already come where it's going to be too late to flee. That's my 2 cents. You want to engage me on the topic? Send me an email, steve@radiofreespeech.com.